In my book, Grafted In, A Jewish Christian Perspective, I've devoted quite a bit to a discussion that I feel is very, very critical and important for Gentile believers to understand. Within the global church today, there really is a desire to implement the Jewish roots of the Christian faith, or as some would refer to it, the Hebraic elements of Christianity. There is this desire for an actual, authentic, accurate model that is accentuated by the Jewishness of the Bible. Friends, make no mistake about it. Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. The early church were all Jews until chapter 9 of the book of Acts, when God sends the Apostle Peter to Cornelius, a Roman centurion. The challenge, however, we face is that in the quest to implement Jewish roots, or to find this authentic model, a template of worship that would actually be authentic, the challenge very simply is that very often people in ignorance don't acknowledge or realize that they have actually embraced a rabbinical Judaism as opposed to understanding or embracing a biblical Judaism. Now, I want to be very honest with you and present a very balanced approach. Rabbinical Judaism, very simply, is a compilation of the teachings of Jewish sages throughout the centuries. These sages have taught the halakha, Jewish law. They've taught how to dress. They've taught how to eat. They have actually presented a way of living that in their mind is a way that is pleasing to Hashem, or the name. They're very good teaching, very good principles that they teach and they present. But it is very different from a biblical Judaism that very simply presents how Yeshua himself lived. Yeshua was a Jew, an observant Jew. Now, Gentile believers, according to the Bible, have not been required or called of God to actually dress like Jews or act like Jews. And in many ways, there are those Gentile believers that in their quest to embrace the Jewishness of the Bible, have actually erred or become, let me put it this way. They've gone to a polar extreme. For example, do Gentile believers have to wear kippahs? Do Gentile believers have to come to church wearing a talit? Do Gentile believers have to always blow the shofar during the church service? I would say very simply that it is not necessary to do that. Obviously, there are certain distinctives that observant Jews will follow, and it's their right to follow. Rabbinical Judaism teaches very simply that there are certain ways that a man or a woman needs to act and dress a certain way. In many ways, it's cultural, not necessarily biblical. I believe it's important that Gentile believers understand the difference between rabbinical Judaism and biblical Judaism. The Bible is the standard, not necessarily the Jewish commentaries, the Talmud, or the Gemara, or any of the other writings of the Jewish sages. They're wonderful. They can enrich your life, but they are not the standard according to the Bible of what it means to walk in a way that is pleasing to God. So we honor those that would follow the rabbinical understanding and the teachings. But Gentile believers, I believe, are not required to do that. It's very simple in my understanding that Gentile believers have a fullness in Yeshua They can understand the beauty of the feasts and celebrate them and observe the feasts, understanding the Moedim, the calendar of God. But to embrace Rabbinical Judaism, I don't think is necessary and is not required by the Lord. I trust this will help you in your understanding of implementing the Jewish roots of Christianity.
Please share this video, and on YouTube, click the button below to become a subscriber. In consideration of Canada's 150th birthday, please consider 150 ways to bless Israel through your Christian embassy, the ICEJ Canada. Consider becoming a $150 monthly donor. Plant 150 trees, 150 prayers for Israel. The opportunities are endless. Please contact us.